My name is Alex Rousey. I'm the research manager here at Keeping Current Matters. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here today. I'm so glad we get to start our week together with the deep dive, just like we do every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to go ahead and get started with the top topic in real estate this week. And I'm really excited with the research that we've put together for you all. We're going to be talking about home prices today, and something that I think is on the mind of just about all of your clients and most people in your community. And it is about the fact that home prices are moderating, not crashing. Just as a reminder for all KCM members, and especially those that are new to their KCM membership, all of the slides that we look at today are available to you in the member area, as well as a recording of this deep dive. So you can go back and watch it at any time. You can download the slides, have them on your phone. You can print them out if you'd like, use them in your presentations. And then if you're not a KCM member, welcome. We're really glad to have you here. TryKCM.com is going to be where you want to go to start your 14-day free trial. You'll have access to all of this in your member area. And like I said earlier, I'm very excited to get into it. This is a very important topic, something that's been in the news a lot lately, and people have been talking about a lot lately, is this worry that home prices may come crashing down at some point this year. In fact, part of the reason why we can say so confidently it's a big worry is because we have this survey that we found recently. It was conducted over 1,000 American households, just finished up in March. And what they found is that 70% of Americans are concerned about a potential housing market crash in 2025. That's a big deal. That's a lot of people. And is that relatable to anyone else? I feel like that makes a lot of sense, given a lot of the economic fear and uncertainty that many people have been feeling. Naturally, whenever there is talk about a recession, and with the way that the stock market has fluctuated, mortgage rates have been going up and down like crazy over the past week, that sort of uncertainty and sort of unsteadiness has a lot of people concerned. And when you talk about a recession or the potential of a recession, a lot of people's mind naturally goes back to 2008. And that is why so many people kind of link recession and housing market crash together. And so it's no wonder that a lot of people are concerned about the potential of a housing market crash this year. The reason this is important is because when so many people are worried or have this sort of heightened anxiety about what may or may not happen in the housing market, they're less likely to make a transaction. Kind of makes sense. 32% of those who planned a major purchase this year say they're now delaying it. And that includes 1 in 4 people who plan to buy a home and 1 in 8 who plan to sell a home. So you've got people that are concerned about the state of the housing market and where it might go this year. And naturally, many of them are kind of just saying, hey, let me pull back. Let me just wait this out because maybe this isn't the right time for me. I don't know what's going to be happening with home prices. I don't want to buy a home and then have prices come crashing down. I maybe have a little bit of worry about the economy and a potential recession. Is my employment, my financial situation going to be steady? These sort of concerns are on the minds of people in your community, your clients, and naturally, many of them are going to be pausing their plans to move. And if this continues throughout the rest of the year, if this sort of uncertainty is heightened, if it grows throughout the rest of the year, then you can expect even more people to kind of pause their plans to buy or sell a home. And that's why it's even more important for you to get in front of these people and engage with them and share the facts about why they don't necessarily have to be worried about a housing market crash this year. This comes from Business Insider. Though many Americans believe the housing market is at risk of crashing, economists who study housing market conditions generally do not expect a crash in 2025 or beyond unless the economic outlook changes. Of course, that unless the economic outlook changes there at the end is a way to make this a safer statement, because who knows what the future holds. But we would need more than just economic changes in order for the housing market to crash. We would need a significant change in inventory. This is what we're going to talk about for most of this deep dive. And this is what I want you to have in mind whenever you hear any sort of worry about a housing market crash from the people that you're talking to over the next couple of weeks. Because a lack of inventory is what prevents the housing market from crashing. And let me go ahead and that's not just my words. That comes from Mark Fleming, chief economist at First American. There's just generally not enough supply. There are more people than housing inventory. It's Econ 101. Put simply, low inventory. And surely you're seeing it, you're experiencing it in most markets around the country. Inventory is still pretty low. And having a lack of inventory simply means prices can't and won't crash. So until there's a significant change in the inventory situation, until we can get back or above pre-pandemic levels of inventory, home prices crashing are not on the horizon. And that's the number one thing that you have to remember and be able to communicate with your clients. You might be thinking, especially if you've been following along with KCM over the past year or so, we have talked a lot about the fact that inventory is rising. And so this might come across a little confusing at first. Wait a second, I thought you said inventory has been going up. And that is the good news, and it is true. It is something to be shared, especially with potential home buyers that have been struggling to find a home. Inventory has been rising, and that makes the market more favorable than it was maybe a couple of years ago. But two things can be true at once. This graph shows a comparison of inventory to this time last year and then to pre-pandemic. So what we can see is that compared to this time last year, there are just over 28% more homes available on the market. That's the good news. That's great, especially for first-time home buyers who have been struggling to find something, or people who are reluctant to sell because they were worried they wouldn't be able to find their next home. Things are improving on the inventory front, and that's definitely helpful in what everybody has been looking for. But the reality is, compared to pre-pandemic, we're still 20% below pre-pandemic levels of inventory. So while inventory is rising, it is still relatively low. And it's important to have that nuance because that's why we can have the positive news that there are more homes available. And we can also say that there isn't enough inventory for the housing market to crash. I want to share this quote from Lawrence Yun, the chief economist over at NAR. He said, home price growth will moderate due to more supply coming onto the market. Having income and wages rise faster than home prices are welcome to improve affordability. So as inventory continues to grow, and it's been growing for the past couple of years, most forecasts have it growing between 10 and 15% throughout the rest of the year. As that continues to happen, that will help to moderate home price growth. That's good news. But he said home price growth will moderate. He didn't say home prices will crash. It's an important differentiator. I want to show you what it looks like. This is a graph of year-over-year home price changes according to the FHFA, and it goes from January 2024 to January 2025. January 2025 is the most recent home price data that we have. We know home price data usually lags by about 2 months. And so we can see a couple of obvious things here. First of all, home prices over the past few months have not been growing like they were early in 2024 and even in the years prior. That's the home price growth moderating. The other thing that you have to be able to notice here, and it's pretty obvious when you think about it, home prices keep going up. All of these bars are green. We, of course, know that real estate is very local, and there are housing markets all across this country where home prices are rising more than 4.8%. There are also some markets where home prices have come down a little bit. In fact, 42 of 300 metro areas in the country have seen home price declines year over year, but only at an average of about 2%. So we're seeing 1, 2, 3% declines in a few markets, and then others where home prices are still going up a little bit or a lot. Low inventory is why home prices continue to rise. Well, it's a big part of the reason why. And as long as inventory stays below normal levels, and even if it gets back to normal levels, if it doesn't far exceed that, you can expect home prices to continue going up. That's just simple supply and demand. When we don't have enough homes for the people that want to buy them, prices continue to go up. But the reason that home price growth is slowing down is because inventory is rising. So, like we looked at in the graph previously, two things could be true at once. Home inventory is low, that keeps prices going up. But as home inventory rises, that slows down that pace of home price growth. That's the home price growth moderation that you're seeing right here on this graph. And that's good news. That's good news for buyers, sellers, and for the health of the housing market. Here you can see there's some good news for both buyers and sellers as we enter the spring home buying season. Slowing price growth is bringing more home hunters off the sidelines. A couple of words that we've been using here a lot are balanced and healthier, because that's exactly what this means for the housing market. The home price growth that we saw a couple of years ago, where some markets were seeing 10, 15, 20% home price growth, that's not sustainable and it's not healthy. It made a lot of homeowners a lot of money. And so that could be considered a good thing from their perspective. But for the long term, for the housing market, and especially for potential buyers who want to get in the housing market, it's not sustainable. Where we're seeing 3, 4% home price growth year over year in a lot of markets now, that's a sort of healthy amount of home price growth that is normal in the housing market. And that makes it a little bit easier for buyers to kind of wrap their head around where the market is right now. A lot of people felt a lot of sticker shock a couple of years ago when prices shot up and just thought, maybe home ownership isn't in the cards for me. It seems like it's going to be way too expensive. And while affordability hasn't gotten a whole lot better, the mindset shift is what's been so important. And seeing that home prices are just growing at a more steady, moderate pace now is helping to ease the mind of buyers and helping them know that, hey, you can still buy a home and get an asset that the value is appreciating, which is ultimately what you want. So looking forward, this is kind of expected to continue throughout the year. As we said earlier, most inventory forecasts are saying that inventory will rise between 10 and 15% this year. And as a result, Freddie Mac says we expect the pace of house price appreciation to moderate from the levels seen in 2024 while still maintaining a positive trajectory. We bolded that last part because that's the opposite of a crash. Home prices aren't crashing. They're not expected to come crashing down at any point this year. The reason that they will continue with a positive trajectory is because we don't have enough homes for sale. That's what you have to tell to anybody who is really feeling a lot of worry and a lot of concern and thinking, I should just wait this out. Things are too uncertain. I'm a little worried about the way the economy is going or the way the housing market's going. And making a big life-altering purchase is just maybe not the best choice right now for me and my family. That may be the case, but it's not because home prices are crashing. And it's not because home prices are going to come crashing down this year. It's a very important message for you to share. I want to kind of sum it all up with this. If there's just one quote to take away from this entire deep dive, this would be the ones from Lawrence Yun. There's just simply not enough supply. So the economics of supply and demand, if there's a shortage, prices simply cannot crash. That's the reality. We have a shortage. Prices cannot come crashing down right now until the inventory situation changes drastically. So let's end it on this, just as we always do. Here at Keeping Current Matters, the reason that we all do what we do is because we believe most agents know what's happening. Good agents understand what's happening, but only the great agents can explain what's happening. And hopefully now with this deep dive, with these slides in your membership, you're able to go out there and engage with the people that you know are having a little bit of trepidation, kind of putting their plans on pause because they're a little bit worried about the future of the housing market. You can let them know that that's one less worry that you need right now. Home prices are not going to be crashing. They're not crashing right now. And so get out there and explain that and help them understand that simple supply and demand, there's not enough inventory. So they don't need to be too worried about the housing market crashing right now. That's all we have for today. I really, really do appreciate you joining us, not just today, but every Monday, so that you can be doing your best to explain what's really happening in the housing market with your clients. It's going to help you be the trusted market expert and help people know that when they are ready to buy or sell a home, they're going to want to work with you because you know what's going on. And that's our whole mission here, is to make sure that you're up on the latest and that you can explain what's happening. So we'll be back next week, April 21st. Looking forward to seeing you then. Once again, Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's where you'll find us. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you then.